looks like 9 o'clock in Washington, D.C. And today, actually, I'm joining you from Lithuania. So it's 4 p.m. here in Lithuania. It's a small Baltic state in Eastern Europe. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 11th Grow, Learn, Connect webinar. And again, if you don't mind, today we'll kind of skip the housekeeping rules because I'm pretty sure that you know all the do's and don'ts by heart already. So I'll start immediately with a couple of announcements. You have probably noticed that we have changed the time of today's webinar, meaning that it is expected to last slightly longer than usual. So after the main presentation, the GLC communication specialist and my dear colleague, Ara Johannes, would like to have a very quick chat with you about the GLC group on LinkedIn. We do hope that you will find that conversation helpful. So if you have a couple more minutes after the webinar, please hang out with us a little bit longer. Okay. And right after the webinar, you're also invited to join the conversation Reimagining Youth Skills Post-Pandemic that is being organized by the permanent missions of Portugal and Sri Lanka to the United Nations by UNESCO, ILO, and the Office of Secretary General's Envoy on Youth. The link to this webinar is available on the GLC, and I will also share it with you in chat in just a couple of minutes if you're interested. Now, the next thing I wanted to mention is that two of our master trainers, Rohit Agarwal and Adeola Babatunde, are conducting the training sessions, facilitating learning online and in person. So this training course is designed for both aspiring and seasoned professionals, and it will teach participants both face-to-face and online facilitation skills. So this is more like the training of trainers that most of you are familiar with, but it also has the online component. And every participant in that training session will be able to pass the test, pass the assessment towards the IFCLPI trainer certification. So if you are interested, or if you know someone who is interested, please I'm sure will benefit significantly from those courses. And since we're talking about the calendar of events, I just wanted to remind everyone that our calendar of events is open to all training professionals to contribute and to benefit. So if you're organizing any training events that you think might be of interest to our GLC training community and beyond, please submit them through no strings attached. All right, so another thing that I wanted to mention quickly is the recent blog posts that I thought were very interesting. So since the last time we met with you, we had a couple of blog posts that includes the search for the perfect hiring indicator. This blog post was submitted by our master trainer and instruction designer, Karen Philly, that lots of you are familiar with. So the question Karen is raising in the blog is, when you hire trainers or instructional designers, how do you make a decision? Do you run personality tests, or maybe you rely on experience or behavior-based interviews? Do you check resumes or references? So please join the discussion. We would like to hear your views on that, and please share your experience as well. Now, the next blog that I wanted to quickly mention is called Do the Right Stuff. And yes, the word right is spelled correctly in this context. So again, this article was submitted by Karen Philly. When hiring instruction designers, she thinks the best test for instruction designers to take would be the sample of the instructor guides. So an instructor guide, if you're not familiar with it, is the document that contains trainer's notes about how to teach a course. So studying it can provide insight into the instruction designer's writing, communication, and technical abilities. So what should that writing sample look like? Please join our discussion on GLC. The next article is called How Do You Assess the Latent Capabilities of Employees, which was submitted by our master trainer, Adnan Al-Sada. It was submitted in Arabic. But as we discussed last time, I hope this is not going to be an issue for you at all, since Google allows you to translate any page from any language into your native language. And finally, the article that is titled Training Requirements for the Effective ISO Implementation, which was submitted by one of our participants today, Madhu. Thank you so much for submitting it. So Madhu Aman Sharma is from Cambodia, and he is running the company K2A Management that, among other things, offers ISO training for ISO implementation. So in this blog, he is milestones that companies must consider when they prepare their staff for the ISO implementation. So if you're interested, please join the discussion on GLC. And now I would like to get back to our today's webinar and to the topic of our webinar. And let me stress that the topic, in my opinion, cannot be underestimated. So the first principle of the IFC Principles for Learning postulates that a training practitioner should always collaborate very closely with the client to gain a clear understanding of the desired performance outcomes, targets, and business objectives. And partnering with clients is also emphasized in the Guide to Training, because the Guide to Training puts partnering with clients in the center of the competency wheel, meaning that this relationship should be maintained throughout the training project lifecycle. So it should not only be instilled in the beginning, but it should be maintained throughout the project lifecycle. So let's welcome Caroline Mwazi. Caroline, a big welcome to you, and thank you so much for coming back. This is the second time that Caroline is conducting a webinar for us. So thank you so much for joining for sharing your experience, Caroline. Caroline is the founder of Kuru Consult. It's a Nairobi-based management. Prior to launching her business, Caroline built her career in the banking sector. Caroline has an MBA, and she is also an associate of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, UK. Caroline is the IFC Certified Master Trainer, and she's also the IFC LPI Trainer and Assessor. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Caroline. Enjoy the webinar.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction, Anna, and a very warm good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are joining this webinar from. Yes, I'm one of those who had a career before, and I have a different career as a consultant. But one of the things that made me get into learning and development and the training space was when the bank actually began a volunteer trainer program in which management were expected to train staff on different aspects. And I did it for selfish reasons because I wanted to develop my presentation skills, but I found that I loved seeing transformation. And so it's been a wonderful journey of now going up to actually over 15 years. So it's been quite a while that I've been training and just doing this. So just allow me to put up my slides, and then we'll be able to get right into the session. Okay. All right, so it will just take a few minutes before my slides come up, and then we'll be able to start.
Caroline, I actually already see your slides. Okay, so
you already see them? Okay, there we are,
yes,
because
yes.
I wasn't able to see them at my end here. Okay, wonderful. So in our session today, we are looking at partnering with clients. And as the subtitle says, it's really important for us as learning and development experts, whether we are working in an organization or we are consultants working with different clients, to build strong partnerships so that we maximize training impact. And so I'd like to start with a quotation by Henry Ford. He said, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success." And so hopefully by the end of our session today, you'll be able to get a few ideas to add on to what you're already doing so that you work together with your clients towards mutual success. So by the end of the webinar, you'll be able to explain the importance of partnering with clients and then to outline ways that you can do so through the training cycle, and then also to describe possible issues that can arise as you partner with your clients. And finally, very, very important, and we often overlook this, to be able to list ways of building strong relationships with your clients. And so we're going to do this in 4 stages. We're going to start by looking at why it's important to partner with clients and how you can do so through the training cycle. Thirdly, we'll look at possible issues that can arise. I mean, if you've been a trainer or a consultant for any period of time, you know it's not always a smooth journey. And finally, we're going to look at building strong long-term relationships as you partner with your clients. And even as you move on to other projects, it doesn't mean that your relationship is over. It's still possible to maintain and strengthen those relationships for more opportunities in future. And this will help you in various ways. First of all, just to strengthen your relationships with your clients, and then you being seen as a trusted advisor, you delivering higher training impact, gaining positive referrals, and of course, enhancing your professional profile, which can never hurt. I mean, this is really valuable for us, that we become known as really, really cutting edge training providers, and indeed we become trusted advisors even as we continue and move on to working with other clients. So I encourage you all to engage. So we'll be using a lot of the interactive tools throughout the session. So let's engage, let's talk and share. Let's also introspect and look at our own practices, the things that have worked and maybe the things that haven't worked. Have an open mind, and the most important thing, take away something that you can learn, that you can apply from the very next interaction you have with your clients. And ultimately, let's all enjoy the webinar. I'm already having a ball, and I encourage us to do so as well. So we're going to be using different tools. So let's just have a look at them. I can see you're already engaging in chat, so let's continue doing that. Let's right now just use the type, if you haven't already, to type in your and where and your webinar expectations. So your name and what you're expecting to get out of the webinar. Thank you very much. We'll pause as you're typing that in. In case you don't know where the chat panel is, it should be at the bottom of your screen, and there should be a speech bubble there that says chat. So let's have your name and your webinar expectations. No worries if you say where you are from, but we'll be doing an exercise very shortly in which we'll be using the annotation tools to indicate where we are. Thank you very much. I see already your greetings have started coming in. I think these are earlier ones. So you want to make sure that you send to everyone. So I can see Rajini Khan from Sri Lanka. Welcome. And Mona, you're expecting to know more about how to build relationships with your customers. Derek, hi. Wonderful to see you on this platform, Derek, and yeah, very welcome as well. Do share your expectation, and remember, everybody share your name and your expectations as well. Peter as well, thank you very much. Tips on effective ways of partnering with customers, wonderful. Tetsiwe from Kenya as well, although originally from South Africa, thank you. Expecting to learn more about CRM, wonderful, excellent. Exceeding expectations in partnerships. Hi Charika, you should share, you could share your expectations as well. Tips on better collaboration, so important. Rajiva as well, awesome. Nada from Tunisia, expecting to know ways of improving relationships with clients. Brilliant. And Irene from Oxford, thank you. Successfully partnering, yes. Wonderful. So thank you all for your comments. They're still coming in. Journaling from the Philippines, you're expecting to learn more about creating strong partnerships with employees. And Nasha from the Philippines as well, you want to learn how to build long and strong relationships with your clients. So thank you all. We'll be coming back. So if you still want to type in your expectations and your name as well, just to say hello to everybody, please do so. Thank you very much. Brilliant. So let's look at some of the other tools that we'll be using. So we'll be using chat, and do feel free to use it throughout the session, of course, and we'll also be pausing from time and again just to use it as well. So thank you. This is from KCB, to learn something new. I suspect that might be Esther, but I might be wrong, but welcome. Building lasting, strong relationships with clients. Thank you. How to build up relationships with your client. And I'm so happy that that theme is already coming out, because yes, it's very important for us to partner and to partner effectively. My background, as you heard from Anna earlier on, is that I was a banker. Indeed, I was. I was a corporate banker, and actually, I was a relationship manager. And I think already naturally, I like to relate with people and so on, but it really helped me see the value of forming strong relationships and, as a consultant, intentionally building relationships with your clients. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I also look forward to sharing with you a few things that can help us just to do this effectively. Thank you. Hi, Pratima, as well. The expectation is to learn how to manage partnerships. Great. So moving on then to the final, to the other annotation tool that we'll be using in the session. So we'll be using our reactive panels. Let me just do those ones first. So basically, if you go to the three dots at the bottom of your screen, you should be able to see your reactions. And if you found the feedback panel, please give me a green tick if it's there. If not, you can just type yes, that you're ready to proceed. Thank you. Okay, if you've been able to find the feedback panel, please let me know. It could also be at the bottom of your participants list. Let me just see if it's there. Okay, so I don't see that there. Mark, maybe if you could enable that, that will be great. Otherwise, we'll just use the chat panel for that. Thank you. Brilliant. So those are the tools that we can use. Let's now look at the final one that we'll definitely be using in the session today. We'll be using annotation. And I find this one of the most exciting tools on Zoom or WebEx that we can be able to interact directly on the screen. So we'll be using our annotation tool. So just to share with us, so there's the named arrow, just to highlight the ones that we'll be using in our session. There's the named arrow, there's the text tool, then there's the lines and the check marks as well. We won't be using that. We might be using it in one of the exercises as the check marks, but also if you want to pick a color for whatever tool you're using, you can change the color using the color tool. And in case you want to undo your annotation or to erase it, you can use the eraser tool. So we're going to use the named arrow tool. If you want to know where your annotation tools are, to the left of your screen, you'll see a wavy line or a squiggle that once you click on that, you'll open your tools. And I'd like you to use that to answer where you are. Okay, so what you do, you click on the squiggle and then you go to the arrow. That's a pointed arrow that has your name, and you'll be able to indicate where you are, as I have. So all you have to do is just to click where you are. I'm in Kenya. Today is a warm day. We've been having a cold spell, but that's where I am. So let's have everybody do that, please. You're only able to do this if you're using a laptop or a PC. If you're not able to, you might not be able to, like if you're using an iPad or a tablet or your phone, but you can type into chat where you are. So let's take a few minutes, a moment or so, a few seconds for us to just indicate where we are. So we have participants in Asia, North Africa. We have quite a number there. Peter, I know you're in Kenya as well. Thank you. And I'm glad also and happy to see that you're picking different colors, which is brilliant. Let's see where the others are from. So just remember to click on the arrow. First of all, you need to activate your annotation toolbar. You do that by clicking on the squiggle on the left hand of your screen, a sort of a zigzag line. And then once it opens, you can indicate where you are. Derek, at the moment you're at sea. So you want to bring your arrow in so that we can see where you are. Thank you. Great stuff. Anna, you're in Lithuania, so yes, you're in Europe. Nasha, yeah, from the Philippines, exactly. That's what you said, Nasha. And I know you have another colleague there as well. Yeah, so it's great to see where we are. And you want to keep in mind that toolbar because we shall be using it to type in other things as well. So I'll talk to you more about that as the need arises. So that's our opening of our session. And thank you everybody who has responded where you are. And yeah, let's now get into the first part of our session. Right. So let's start by looking at the importance of partnering with clients. It's really, really key. And let me start by saying the purpose of training in the first place is, yes, to impart information, but ultimately what we want to do is to transform the people. So whether you're dealing with entrepreneurs or whether you're dealing with team members within an organization or within a team, we are imparting knowledge, skills, and attitudes ultimately for improved organizational performance, team performance, individual performance, so that overall the business, the organization, the team achieve their strategic objectives. And just to get us to think about the topic of the day, which is partnering with clients, we have the training competency wheel, which, as you know, has, or you may know, has 6 key areas. So we have the assessing performance needs, which is really, really key. That's where it all starts. And of course, there's a conversation that we'll discuss that goes on before then. But we need to assess the performance needs, first of all. Then after that, we go to designing the curricula. So what exactly will be included, needs to be included, so that we can address the needs of the organization, the needs of that individual learner. And then we look at designing learning experiences, which is now actually developing the content that will be used to deliver the training itself, whether it's online or in person. The process is the same. And then facilitating the actual learning. So this is actually running the training itself. And after that, there is the support that you offer to the learners to make sure the learning is transferred at the place of work, is actually being applied. And then finally, you have the evaluating of the learning over a period of time, normally after 3 months, maybe 6 months after, so that we can establish how well have we been able to apply the learning, have we achieved the results and the effects that we wanted, what else needs to be done. And one thing I'd like to emphasize, even as we look at this wheel, is the importance of partnering with clients throughout that journey. It's really, really important, because throughout all the stages, all the 6, we are not doing it in a vacuum. We have to do it in tandem with our clients and making sure that we are nailing the overall purpose of the training, so that when we come to the final stage, which is evaluating learning, we actually are able to say that yes, indeed, we were able to do it and we achieved the objectives that we wanted to in the first place. So let's have a chat discussion now, shall we? In which we answer the question, why is it important to partner with clients throughout the learning journey? Why is it important to do that? So let's head over to chat, and I'm heading over there right now. And please share your answers. Thank you. Why is it important to partner with clients throughout the learning journey? Okay. Thank you, Deepa, to sustain the project activities. Excellent. Brilliant. Thanks. Why else do you think it's important to partner with the clients? Okay, wonderful. Charika, the need to connect with you. Thank you, to trust you, to understand the benefit to them. Thank you very much, Charika. Stephen, for sustained learning outcomes. More heads, better than one, indeed. And I'm so happy Peter is on this call, because that does happen when you collaborate with your clients and you partner with them. Thank you. To make sure that we really add value and meet the client's needs, ensure relevance, to be able to help more, indeed, to ensure the transformation process. You get to know more about the client's needs to help reshape the learning to create value as well. Awesome. For direct and relational impact, and to provide a win-win situation to each of the parties. Indeed. So those are some of the key reasons why it's important to partner with clients, and I'm so glad that you're really, we're really all on the same page as well. Awesome. To build trust, thank you, Dr. Madhu Aman, to build trust and identifying the needs of the client for developing the training curricula indeed, to understand the clients better so that we can help them and achieve the objectives of the project. Thank you. Spot on, all of you. You are totally right. And so, now that we've appreciated how important it is, how have you partnered with your clients? What are some of the things you've done in partnering with your clients? Let's hear from one another some of the different things that we've done to partner effectively with our clients. Thank you. Needs analysis. Okay, good. Stephen, you're adding as well the need to localize the learning experience. Absolutely. Adi, so throughout the cycle, thank you very much, Deepa. That's another version of the training life cycle, from analysis to design to delivery. Analysis, design, development, delivery, and of course, implementation, and of course, evaluation, to listen to their needs. Thank you. Engaging with them, listening to their views, listening to the client. Absolutely. Listening is key. Thank you very much, all of you who've talked about listening. Projecting as a problem solver. Thank you. Instead of projecting your own ideas, absolutely. Partnering. It's not just you giving the inputs, it's also inputs coming from the clients. Actually, what I've seen in my experience is that you're creating together. And of course, always keeping the objectives in mind. Thank you. It's Siri again, co-development, co-delivering learning content. Thank you. Being very open to others. Visiting the clients. Oh, that's an excellent way. Absolutely. Visiting the client, having informal chatting. Yes, Yvonne, very important point. Both formal and informal. Understanding their working style, expectations. So appreciating that clients come in all shapes and sizes. One size doesn't fit all. You need to understand. Gain understanding, championing for collaboration. Thank you. Your responses are coming in fast and furious. I hope I'm catching them all. Anna, help me if I've missed any. And then also identifying their needs, co-designing the solutions, evaluating the quality and impact. Thank you. Peter, you're saying sharing new insights and information and to know their needs. Totally correct. Thank you very much, everybody. There are different ways of partnering with them, but ultimately it's about engaging, it's about collaborating, it's about you sharing, but also you listening to their views, to their needs as well, and also being able to amplify and share more, because you coming in as a consultant, even if you're within the organization in the learning and development department, you are still a consultant. You need to go in, you need to understand, and collectively, that was a point that was shared earlier, we then engage, we then are able to go deeper and actually come up with what individually you might not have done. So I find it magical actually, and I find it really beautiful that we are able to co-create and essentially collaborate in creating wonderful learning experiences that help us to achieve the objectives. Thank you very much. To know their needs as well, sharing new insights and information. Brilliant. So then let's do a poll now to rate how you partner with clients on a scale of 1 to 10. So if you think about how you partner with clients now, so it's not what you'd like it to be, it's what it is. What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? So let me launch the poll, and then you'll be able to rate it. So you should see that appearing on your screen. Yes, I see you've entered in chat, but you'll see a poll appearing on your screen, and you should be able to score. So I can see many of us have started voting. Thank you very much. Anna?
Yes, Caroline, I'm monitoring the situation. So I guess we will give participants 1 minute. Okay.
Okay, great.
To select the responses.
Thank you. And once you've voted, you could also type in what's great and what needs to improve. But make sure you vote first, and after that, then you'll be able to type in what's great and what needs to improve. Thank you very much.
Caroline, maybe we can already close the poll. What do you think?
Yes, we can. I see a few of us still haven't, but that's okay. We can close the poll because I see that the numbers are not going up anymore. Thank you very much. So I'm publishing the results that you should be able to see now. Okay, good. So we can see the results there that okay. So most of us have rated ourselves as okay. So most of us are at actually 7. So most of us have rated ourselves as a 7. We have a few 6s and 4s. At least none of us has rated themselves as 0. Let's see, on the higher end, we have 1, 9, and 1, 10. Okay. So that means 10 maximum, no room for improvement, or we just maintain that high level. But ultimately, we all have something to improve on. So let's head over to chat. Thank you all for voting. And let's see what we are saying with regard to what we're doing well and where we need to improve, right? So what's great and where do you need to improve? So looking at those, so Mona, they know my areas of competence, thank you. KCB, you're saying to collaborate, so that's, I guess, is what's great. Competing priorities, I think, is what needs to improve. So just making sure that you're prioritizing right, thank you very much. And then getting to be on the, I think this might be on, maybe on the same page, maybe, with the client is usually amazing, thank you. What needs to improve, Mona? You're sharing time to visit more, exactly. Yeah, it's true, because very often we tend to move on after the main events, but it's important to stay in touch. Mona, again, you don't have to visit in person. You can call, you can chat, you can also keep in touch on email, so that's really useful still. Thank you very much. Let's hear from others. What's going well and what needs to improve? I'll give you about a minute or so just to type in your responses on that. What's going well and what needs to improve? We know ourselves. We know where the shoe pinches. We also know where we're winners and where we're winning. Thank you. Okay, so I see there are no other responses coming in. So then we'll just go on then to then the final question of this particular segment. So then what would happen if you improved how you partner with your clients? If you just to pick one thing and you worked on it, what would happen? What results would you gain? Example, if you visited more, if you kept in touch more, if you collaborated deeper with your partners, what would happen? What tangible results do you see happening? Efficiency, Mona, thank you. Yep, thank you. So meaning that you would save time, absolutely, you would save money for sure. What else would happen? Think deeper about it. What else would happen? If you were more efficient, if you collaborated deeper with your clients, what would that result in for you? Try to put yourself in that space where you're partnering better with your clients, you're collaborating deeper with them. What would happen? Efficiency is definitely spot on. What else would happen? Remember, all of us are trainers, all of us are learning and development experts. So there's no wrong answer. So let's go ahead and just share what else we think would happen. Thank you.
So some of the comments that I'm seeing include better flow of communication between training professionals and clients. greater
Okay.
success for both parties, achieving expected outcomes of the project, and in general, you know, Stephen thinks that it's going to be a win-win result for everyone.
Yes.
Neither emphasizes reliability of the outcomes, I guess. And in general, people expect that they will be getting more repeat business if they collaborate more effectively with clients, right? So more referrals, you know, which kind of emphasizes that idea, improved productivity. So all the great answers. Thank you very much for contributing.
Yes, and I'm seeing they all. I mean, on my side, they all came in at exactly the same time. So it seems that there was a slight delay at my end, but yes, they've all come, and I can see there's so many responses. Reliability, more business, definitely, as well. More referrals, yes, more business, improved productivity, deeper, which relates to the efficiency that Mona spoke about earlier. The solution would be more accurate for sure. You'd measure your results in profit. Yes, you'd attempt the objective, so achieve the objectives, Mona. I know you have Uponse or Fonse, but that's okay. Less time, more benefits for sure. And it's more helpful to improve your own skills for sure, Dr. Madu, and confidence. So many benefits. It can change the clients. It can improve your practice, your delivery as a learning professional for sure. Sustained and organic growth at both ends. Training can be more learner focused, more income, more projects as well. Mutual understanding improved. All good results. So let's then already, before we're even halfway into the webinar, convince ourselves that it is a must. And that's the reason why it's right at the center of the training life cycle. And it's something that indeed must happen throughout the process. Thank you all for your contributions. So it's really important too, as well, because they own the project and the outcomes as well. And then they know what success will look like ultimately. And you need to understand exactly what is needed. And as we saw, efficiency is key, that you need to provide it as efficiently as possible, cost and time-wise, while adding value to them. So you always need to be thinking, what more? What else? How do I do this really, really well? And those will help you. And thank you all for those amazing benefits. So if you look at the GLC guide to training, then it talks about, in the section to do with partnering with clients, there are 5 key pillars that it talks about. And the first one is demonstrating awareness of the client organization and also supporting the client in making effective choices, because there are options available. As the learning expert, then you would know the best approaches because you've been in the space and you know the different options available. And then also developing agreements. Remember, it's partnering, so you don't force things down their throat. It's really about understanding and building up and also collaborating. And then also it can involve making changes throughout the project. Later on in the session, we'll be looking at some of the issues that can arise, and it's important to still do that in collaboration and then also to interact effectively. So these 5 areas demonstrate the different ways that you can partner with your clients. And then also, in the principles of learning, principle 1 talks about aligning learning objectives and evaluation methods with the client's performance needs and business objectives. And that's really what we've been already talking about and will continue talking about in a nutshell. So ultimately, what that principle says, of course, if you don't have it already, you can download it off the Grow, Learn and Connect website. It's right there. All you have to do is you do a search and it will be available, not just in English, but also in French and other languages. It's about a training skills practitioner should always collaborate closely with the client. For example, whether it's the entrepreneur or whatever organization you're working with, to number 1, gain a clear understanding of their desired outcomes and business objectives, and everything that you do throughout the program should align with that desired outcome. So that should always be front and center of your focus. And throughout the discussion, you're always evaluating based on the desired outcomes. And then also the evaluation methods that you develop should be able to measure success, and you should agree and establish agreements with the clients to ensure that the learning goals match the business objectives. So it's really important that you also are familiar with the principles of learning, so that you can also just make sure that you are following them throughout your interactions with your client. Good. So now we've looked at the importance of partnering with clients. Let's now discuss partnering with them through the training life cycle. I can see already from the discussions we had earlier on that you have shared already so many different ways of how we can do this. So this is going to be collaborative. So I'm not the one with the information. We're going to share and to talk about it as well. So just to remind us about the training life cycle or the competency wheel, in which, of course, partnering with clients is right at the center. And so before you even get to the first stage, which is assessing performance needs, what has typically taken place with your with you clients, whether it's you working within an organization and you're partnering with one of the departments within the organization, or you are working with a strategic partner who's probably supporting SMEs or working directly with the business. Before you even get to the performance stage, assessing the performance needs, what has typically taken place? And thank you, Anna, for posting the link to the guide to training. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. I just wanted to re-emphasize that it's available in 3 languages, English, French, and Arabic.
Thank you, Anna. So right before we even start the conversation that we need training, that we need business intervention, what has normally taken place? Try to put yourself in your client's shoes. Before they even call you in. Let's wait for a few seconds. Performance itself, thank you. Rajiva, and then Mona, you're saying having more information. Dr. Madhu, you're saying analysis of the strengths and weaknesses of the participants to address the strategic plan. So I'll give you a hint, something to do with the strategic plan. Thank you very much. I hope that helps. Understanding the client's business. Yes, identify the need. Thank you, Peter. You are getting warmer. Identify the need at what stage? Because the training, the learning specialist has not yet been called in. But at what stage is the need ultimately identified? Reading more about the client's business, yes. But before you even know that they need you, what has gone on within the client's business? Visualizing the desired outcomes. Thank you. Now we're getting hot. We are no longer warm. So just build up on the idea of visualizing the desired outcomes. Deeper, you're saying monitoring the background and identified baseline survey. Yes. Ultimately, still picking up on the line of visualizing the desired outcomes is that strategic objectives are set. And I'm talking now about the broad overall picture. If you're working with the corporate, it may not necessarily be at the corporate level, it might be at the divisional level, but strategic objectives are set and some key gaps are noticed. It could be with the operations, it could be with the people, and so on. And so then if it's to do with the people, then it's possible that a need for training is identified, but maybe it might not even be a training need. It might be a coaching need, it might be a mentoring need. But when the training need is identified, then that an RFP is done. That's if an organization is looking outside, but within, then they just develop a training brief in terms of this is what is needed, this is the sort of outcomes that we want out of the training, so that the learners will be able to perform at a certain way within the organization. After that, of course, we know how it goes. You write proposals, then you might be shortlisted, and then you do presentations. Then there's basically the selection and negotiating, and then the contracting, and then you start. But the partnering can start right from the discussion stage when they're engaging you for you to understand, broadly speaking, from a strategic point of view, what exactly they want to get out of the training itself. So it's really important to have your your antenna open and your eyes open and your ears open as well to really, really get a clear understanding. Very often the client already knows, but you can help to refine some of the outcomes that they want. And the focus of your training should always be achievement of the strategic objectives. Thank you very much. So, Rajiv, as you're saying, KPIs definitely monitoring deeper the background and identified baseline survey, and then Stephen, you're saying gaining understanding about the client business, thank you, and the client's business environment and needs. So very important. And I find sometimes as trainers, we don't always have this mindset. We just go and we do a job and that's it. Always understand the background. Why are we having this training? What strategic objectives are you looking to achieve? What will success look like? That really helps to refine and get it very clear in your mind and get you both on the same page with regard to the approaches and other things that you do in your intervention. Awesome. So moving on then. So you are the client's partner in achieving their strategic and project objectives as well. So make sure you understand the big picture and right from the beginning, because you've listened, because you've understood, because you're asking the right questions, become a trusted advisor, a trusted partner, a trusted collaborator. Thank you. And Stephen, you're talking about gain an understanding about the client's business, the client's business environment, and their needs. Absolutely. Thank you very much. And thank you for that as well. I believe that's Esther. Please confirm KCB. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. So you must understand the big picture and you must make sure that you do understand it well. So it's really important to ask many questions. And I think a very important one you want to ask is why? Why do we need this? What are the issues that you are facing? And others as well that are really, really important to get that full understanding. And of course, listening with your eyes and with your ears, listening even to other people within the organization at the strategic level to get that understanding before you start drilling deeper into the deeper needs assessment. Great. So now it's time for us to do another exercise. So we're going to do this as annotation. So I'd love to hear your ideas for partnering with clients with regard to assessing their performance needs with designing curricula and with designing learning experiences. So we'll do this as a whiteboard activity. So you can see the columns on there. And we're going to use our annotation tools for this. So again, remember, you need to click on the squiggle on the left of your screen, and then it will open up your annotation tools. This time you want to type on the one that has two T's. So there's a big T and a small big T. So you want to do that, and then you'll be able to come here and type. So I suggest you type in your name and then your points, right? That way I'll be able to acknowledge you and all that, right? So don't all go straight to assessing performance needs. You can go to designing curricula or designing learning experiences. Remember, you can do this if you have a PC or a laptop. Otherwise, just type your answers into chat. So you can indicate which area, whether it's assessing performance needs or designing curricula, etc. If you're using chat, otherwise just pick the appropriate column. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions you have. Otherwise, there'll be some silence as we are typing away on the screen. Thank you. So what ideas do you have for partnering with your clients through the first three stages of the training life cycle, either assessing performance needs, designing curricula, or designing learning experiences? What are some of the ideas that you have for partnering with them? Thank you. Asking probing questions. Yes, the power of the question. Good. What about the other areas? Remember, you don't have to start with assessing performance needs. You can start in any column. And allow one another space, so don't overtype. Just find an appropriate space and type in your thoughts. Remember, we can also use chat. Thank you. So this means a deeper think about how you can partner with them, not just at the beginning, which is at assessing performance needs, but also as you're designing the curricula. Thank you. Requirement of language to be used. Thank you. Remember, if you want me to acknowledge you, do remember to type in your name as together with your contribution. I'll do mine as an example and just pick a different color so it stands out. Okay. Thank you. Good. So we'll give it another minute. Remember, you can type in any column. Thank you, Stephen, for adding your name there. Brilliant. Okay. So whoever was typed in last, you want to undo and just type that lower down the column. You've overwritten. Yeah. Thank you very much. So that we can see. Lillian, you were fine. You had a clear space. Thank you. And just remember to write your name as well. Brilliant. So we can see quite a lot of ideas for designing curricula. Let's see what we have for designing learning experiences as well. Okay. Remember, designing learning experiences is where the difference, yeah, I think it's important to just clarify the difference between designing curricula and designing learning experiences. Designing curricula is where you come up with a detailed outline of what the training will look like. So it's actually like you're designing the training that you do, the second stage of adding. Whereas designing the learning experiences is really about now getting into the nuts and bolts of the sessions, of how they run, what activities you do, what the content will actually be, etc. So designing curricula is developing the outlines of the training, and I like doing this in a lot of detail because it saves time later on. And then designing the learning experiences is now where you get to actually create the course itself. And so the question is, throughout these stages, how will you partner with your clients effectively? So that's really about it. How do you partner with them to make sure that everything, the objectives of the training actually remain in clarity and also in focus? Good. So I see some good answers have come in. Those who've overwritten on the designing learning experiences, please undo and find a clear space where you can write so that I'll be able to read it out. Okay, so we now have a good, healthy number of contributions. So let me just have a look at them. If you have any new ideas, feel free to add them. So Steve, you're saying asking probing questions. Thank you. What is the difficulty? What are the issues? Brilliant. Identifying the target audience as well. Thank you. Why the training and not another intervention? Brilliant. Yeah. That one, maybe we might do it a little bit earlier on because at this point we've decided we want to do it. But still, yeah, there are other questions you can ask even later. Identify the training target, the sources of data. Brilliant. Sharing with them as well. So actually conducting the needs assessment, depending on how you want to do it, interviews or surveys and other things, and sharing the findings with them, because I always find that very often you get a lot more information than just what is linked to the training, and this is always useful to the clients. Let's look at designing. Thank you for those who've contributed in assessing performance needs. Moving on now to designing the curricula. Carrying out the gap analysis, Stephen, would happen under assessing performance needs. Thank you. And then requirement of language to be used. Exactly. So clarifying that. Sometimes, like when you're training rural or participants who might not be very literate, you need to look at language. And even if you're training within the same language, it could be a simpler version of the language. And I've had that particularly when I'm developing material for farmers or people who are literate or semi-literate, where if I did it on my own, I'd have been way off the mark. So just involving the clients in all this. Thank you. Incorporating best practice questions, anticipating expectations. Other things with the designing of the curriculum might be bouncing off them whether a particular approach or a particular exercise would work or not. Using of role plays, yeah, so those are the activities. Thank you. Also successes, and then mapping the content to the learning objectives. Exactly. So remember, for these two annotation activities we'll be doing, because we'll be doing another one on the other stages, it's really, really important that we focus on making sure that we do it always in collaboration, and also to make sure that we don't over collaborate. So you're always asking and you're always referring, but there are key touch points that you build into the engagement that you have with your clients. Thank you. And then the next stage is designing learning experiences. So let's see what you've said. Success stories, yes, sharing your own experiences, and all that, bringing it to the level of understanding, the field visit, the client to share their experiences, localizing the content. Exactly. Again, how do you partner with your clients? Very important that, yes, even as you're doing all these activities, that you are maybe checking back with them. And normally, I think as the developers of the content, sometimes instinctively you're like, this might work, this might not work. Anytime you have a question, go back to your client and ask them. And there are many examples I can share with you of how this works, and why it's so important to make sure that you go back with them. If you have a doubt, and it might be you have a cultural doubt, or any other doubt, it could be that you then need to do that with them as well. Thank you. So that's brilliant. And then let's now have a look at another way, at the other ways that we can partner with our clients as well. So the next stages, as you well know, is actively facilitating learning. And then there's also there is facilitating learning, and then there's supporting transfer of learning. And the last stage, of course, is evaluating the learning. So let's then have another discussion similar to the one we've had on that as well. Just let's see. I'll put up a whiteboard and we'll do it in exactly the same way. Okay. So there's a whiteboard there, and allow me to create the columns so that we're clear about them as well. Okay, so there we are. And I'm putting in the columns, and we'll be able to type under them as well. Okay. So when we are facilitating learning, how can we collaborate with our clients? Remember, it's not so much the activity, it's more of how we can collaborate effectively with our clients. So under facilitating learning, and then supporting transfer of learning. I'll enter that later, and then the last one is evaluating. So how can we...
Caroline, I'm sorry to disturb you. If you can hear me, we cannot hear your voice when you're typing at the same time.
Oh, okay.
We cannot hear you at all.
Oh, all right. That is so interesting. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think you stopped typing, so we can hear you now. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was that loud. All right. So I'm saying that let's now do a similar activity with regard to the next three stages, which is facilitating learning, and then also supporting transfer of learning and evaluating learning. So just pick a different color and then enter into the appropriate column as well. Thank you. Just use the annotation tools as before. Thank you. How do you collaborate? And I appreciate that you're hesitating, because it's true, it's not so obvious, is it? How to actually collaborate with our clients. Thank you. Right? So what we are saying here is that earlier on, we looked at how to do it in the first three stages of the learning cycle. And now, what ideas do you have of how we can do it now when we're actually delivering the learning, and after the training, when we are supporting transfer of learning and evaluating learning? How can we collaborate with our clients? I trust that now the question is clear. How do we do that? Thank you. Stephen, thank you for under facilitating learning, um, adopting it, making it practical. Lillian, you're saying virtually, yes. How do we collaborate with our clients? In this case, we're not talking about the participants in the session, we're talking about the sponsors of the training itself. How do we participate with them? How do we collaborate better with them? How do we partner better with them? Thank you. Okay. Adopting practical ways, choice of subject, yes, that's already done at the design stage. Thank you, though, for your contributions. Thank you. Okay, well, good. Thank you for that. Any ideas for supporting transfer of learning and evaluating learning? A few ideas, by the way, that you can gain of how to support transfer of learning. You can gain from the webinar I did. I think it was in November last year. That's available on the GLC website. But here, remember, we are talking about how do you collaborate? How do you partner with your clients in these stages? So it's slightly different. It's less of the what do you do when you're doing these things, which is a topic, I guess, for another webinar, but it's more how do you collaborate? So always have that as you're typing in your answers. How do we collaborate with our partners? Under facilitation, it could include things like liaising with them with regard to the dates, liaising with them with regard to the number of participants, exactly. Designing the material, remember, happened in the earlier stages that we looked at earlier on, and you did that in collaboration with them. So it's really about making sure, and thank you very much. I don't know who typed that last point about creating a feedback loop. That actually needs to happen throughout, and it needs to be win-win, and it always needs to have the objectives of the training in mind. So thank you all for all your contributions. Very, very, very useful. Awesome. So let me go back then to sharing. And as I do that, just allow me to go back to, yeah, so I'm putting back my screen, my slides. Great. So as they're loading, allow me then to just see what has come into chat as well. How will success look like? Yeah, okay. So sharing experiences, designing the learning experience. Thank you, Deepa. Success stories, designing the curricula. Good, thank you. Designing the learning experiences, breakaway rooms. That's more on the design, but how is collaborating, because again, it depends on the platform that they'll be using and how those will work. Thank you. Evaluating learning, conducting the post-test, and always, always making sure that you're involving the learners in, your partners and your clients in the process. Awesome. So I'm looking for the slide where we need to be at as they're loading, and this is where I want us to be. So just to wrap up that part, is just to say that less time and money is wasted when you collaborate effectively with your clients throughout the stages. And as you saw, particularly from the very last exercise we've done, is that we tend to do the doing a lot, and we don't always partner with our clients. So I've prepared a worksheet that you'll be able to use with a few of the suggestions that I have shared and others for you to say, what are you already doing well in those areas and what do you need to improve on? So that will be part of the materials that you get as a result of this webinar as well. I'm not able to share it in the session, but Anna already has it, so she'll be sharing it with all of you. But remember this, less time and money is wasted when you partner effectively with your clients, then there's better achievement of your performance objectives and your reputation, of course, is enhanced. So now, as we come to the tail end of our webinar today, it's important for us to appreciate that there are things that can happen as you're partnering with your clients. So let's enter into chat. What are some of the issues that could possibly arise as we partner with our clients? Well, what are some things that might not go so well as you're partnering with our clients? And I'd like you to think broadly and strategically as well. When you're thinking of a project or a training initiative, what are some issues that can arise that can interfere or that can interrupt the partnering with your clients? Well, what are some issues? Thank you very much, Mona. Clients don't know themselves, they don't know their needs. Thank you very much. Language barrier, for sure. Misunderstanding, awesome. And thank you, Anna, for posting the worksheet already. Well done. Thank you very much. So you can be able to access it immediately on that link. And inadvertently creating the impressions that the clients are doing the work that they expect from you. Thank you. Ketsiwe, expectation, brilliant, absolutely. Yes, expectation management, holding back information, both on your side. Maybe you're running into issues and you don't want the client to know, or the client doesn't want to know. Maybe they don't want to disappoint you, or they don't want to communicate to you that the scope of work has changed. So holding back of information. Thank you. Very, very key points. Not meeting the expectations. More loyalty. Nader, I think you want to explain that. Well, what do you mean by more loyalty? Because I don't see that how that would be an issue, but maybe we explain, we'll understand that better. Yvonne, you're right. Objectives not matching, knowledge gap between the participants, and so many others as well. So let's have a look at them here just to summarize our discussion. It could be that even within the organization itself, there might be a policy change. And that might be an issue. That means that the way we had designed the project, the way we had designed our approaches, it won't happen that way anymore. There also could be a change of project direction, team changes as well, and environmental changes can happen. Natural disasters, let's say floods happen, and the way we had planned to do the training, we can't do it anymore. Or maybe there might be an issue, a security issue, particularly in the conflict and the fragile situations. If you're training in a place where food is an issue or water availability is an issue, people might migrate and suddenly you find that the participants you thought you'd have, you actually don't have them because they're actually not there anymore. And then also global changes can happen, like the fact that now there's COVID, right? In March last year when everything was new, I had lined up a number of training projects, but these were in-person training projects, and all that had to change. And those are issues that can actually arise. And of course, the global changes and the environmental changes are things that can affect all of us. Team changes might be at the top of the organization where it is decided that this is no longer a priority. We want to focus on other things, other areas. Those are some of the issues also that can happen. Thank you. And then some of the issues might be with you yourself, and we've talked about that already in chat. So thank you for your contributions there. Overextension, so you're trying to do too much at once. And it could also be an issue arising from you saying that you'll do more than you actually are able to do, so ending up under delivering. And then there might be changes in your team. The star trainers that you wanted to deliver this training have moved on or are not available to do that particular delivery, and then you find yourself in a situation where you might not meet your client's expectations. And then there might also be misunderstanding and miscommunication. So there's so many things that can go wrong or issues that can arise in a project, but it's a project, and if it's still in place, then you need to find ways of going over them. So before we go to discuss those ways, let's have a look in chat. So we've talked about the knowledge gap, and then Dr. Madhu, you're adding the poor level of presentation, expensive proposal, communication gap, and delivery deadlines, and the competency. So normally the level of the presentation and the expensive proposal, those are things that would, issues that would arise earlier on. But in the process of it, the communication gap is real, as well as delivery deadlines and competency. So just being able to meet the client's expectations or exceed them. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Madhu. And then Stephen, you're saying the timing and conflict of interest. Yes, or a mismatch with regard to what you're doing and what you've understood and are delivering and what the client is expecting. And so very important to make sure that that is harmonized, as we've seen, through regular communication and clarifying. So what are some of the ideas then? And we are seasoned trainers and learning development experts. Many of us are. I know a number of us are new to the business. But what are some, how then, what approaches should we take then to resolve the issues that may arise? What are some of the things you've done, or what are some of the things you think should be done when these issues arise? The things are not running as smoothly as you may have wanted. How should we resolve those issues? Let's type our ideas into chat. Thank you. How should we resolve issues that arise during the training cycle? Thank you, Deepa. Frequent discussion for understanding. If I'm to underscore anything, it is collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. And the other C, communicate, communicate, communicate. Another C that has just popped into my mind, check, check, check. Thank you. So communication, thank you, Mona. And then also, Mona, you're saying be agile, see changes as opportunities. Absolutely. Better communication, indeed. Discussions documented. Absolutely. Check pre-arrangements. So yes, it has to be a partnership. It has to be liaison. It has to be regular. Absolutely. The goal assessment as you progress, address as it arises. I love that, Charika, indeed. Talk to who will be impacted. And this is another thing I'd like to say, is that flag it as you become aware of it. So don't think it will go away, raise it immediately. Thank you. Brilliant. So let's look at that in summary. In the first place, adapt to your clients. As I said, one size doesn't actually fit all. They come in all shapes and sizes, so you adapt to them. Another thing, adapt to the changes. So be flexible, be resilient as well, and always purpose to deliver exemplarily. Make sure that there's always close collaboration, open communication, regular check-ins, and you've already said this, agree on the frequency, because some clients want you to check in much more often, as much as every week. Others will say once every 2 weeks, and so on. But in between, you can still be talking informally. And then anticipate, and one of you raised this as well earlier on in chat, so thank you for that. Anticipate and flag issues sooner rather than later. Make sure that you're being proactive. And then in case now real major issues arise, make sure that you always maintain open communication. Don't run and hide. Instead, be present and be available to solve the issues. Listen and share openly. And also exchange feedback and let it be candid. If your client hasn't been very supportive, tell them, of course, in the right language, in the right way, but always be honest with one another. You should also be open to their feedback as well. So be happy and really celebrate what's going well, but also frankly discuss what may not be going so well as well. And then, of course, engage in problem solving as well. Always collaboration. Remember, very, very important to collaborate, acknowledge the issues, determine the cause, brainstorm the solution, and agree the way ahead or the way forward as well. And then evaluate, see how it's doing, see if you need to make any more adjustments. Collaborate, 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 as I said, involve the client throughout the process. And the more you do that, you stop becoming the person on the other side of the table. You literally become now a partner, a real partner, a real advisor to them as well. And in case things have not gone so well, make the first efforts to repair and heal the relationship. Discuss things honestly and let them know always that they matter, the project matter. They probably will already know what your attitude is just from how you're handling the issues that may arise. Never take it personally. Take responsibility as you need and always learn and grow from the experience. Always do. And I'd be happy to hear what your thoughts are on this, even as we come to wind up with our webinar by looking at building strong long-term relationships. So if you have any comments or any questions, feel free to type those into chat now. Thank you. So then, all through, if the experience has been positive, then you need to be focusing on building strong, long-term relationships. And the end of a project is not the end of the relationship. And you start building the relationship right from your first interaction with your clients. So at the end of the project, then everything running smoothly, making sure that you have collaborated very well and the client's expectations have been met or exceeded, then you can request them for feedback, you can request them for testimonials as well. It's important to have those in files and then also stay in touch with them. The project may have ended, but the relationship certainly hasn't. So appropriate contact, email, calls, not every day, but with an appropriate frequency, like maybe once a month, once every 2 months, just be in touch with them. And a good way of keeping regular contact is to develop a newsletter or a blog and to just add them to your mail list and make sure that they are regularly getting information on what you're doing and how you're doing so that you're always on top of their mind. Maintain your network with them, maintain your contact with them, even as you seek new connections. And I'm so happy that Peter is on the call because I was going to share, I am going to share a description of how I've been able to do this. So Peter is from Cooperative Bank, and we've been working with them since 2018 until this year. And so far, what we've done a number of TOTs, training of assessors, and also developing material for delivery to their business customers. So we've trained already up to now 95 trainers and over 1,000 entrepreneurs have been trained by the team across the country face to face. And the non-financial services, there was a very high focus on the purposes of the non-financial team within the bank, and there's been high liaison through all stages, including the pilots and refining of the content. Peter and I have really partnered a lot in terms of just bouncing ideas off one another and really, really making sure that what the final delivery is excellent. And so I've not only done this with a cooperative bank, as I said, my approach has been that of a relationship manager. And normally I like to really, really understand at the beginning. So having very intense meetings at the beginning with all my partners just to understand. And I find with all of them that they actually appreciate that. They appreciate the needing to understand and the questions and the clarifying and the sharing of ideas, which are not always all adopted, but ultimately they also input ideas and together we actually create a better solution than we would have been able to do on our own. So with Cooperative Bank, the results was that there were successfully run business clinics across the board and high ratings across the country, which also points to the quality of the IFC TOT in terms of, because some of the trainers, in fact, most of them had not really trained before, but with the skills they acquired from the IFC TOT, they were actually able to deliver effective business clinics across the country with the content that was also developed based on the principles that we teach in the TOT. So the client feedback has been that they've been understood and strongly supported through the journey. And this year we've done a number of webinars with them, and it's a partnership that we are looking to continue. So when you're engaging with a client, and there are other examples I could also share, both locally and internationally as well. The approach always has to be, what does the client want? How can I add extra value to them. So not just understanding the purpose of the context of the project, but looking at it much more broadly to understand the why of the organization. And some of you spoke about this earlier. What's this organization about? What are they looking really to do? And then within that big picture, how does my piece actually play within the larger scheme of things? And that way you actually add value to them. So as we look to wrap up this and get into our Q&A, so far I've not seen any, but there might be some. We've looked at the importance of partnering with clients, and we've also looked at partnering with clients through the cycle and the possible issues that can arise in partnering with our clients and building strong long-term relationships. So either in chat or on the screen, what has been useful and what will you be able to apply from today's session, and then also what questions do you have? So we'll pause there, and Anna, allow me to hand over to you before we wrap up this part and hand over to the other stage of the webinar. Thank you. So type in any questions you have. I'll be happy to answer them. And also, what are you going to use from what we've shared today? Thank you very much. Over to you, Anna.
So Caroline, I believe that we are waiting for any questions at this stage, right? So if you have any questions, you can either type in chat, or you can raise your hand using the raise hand icon, and we will give you the floor if you would like to speak.
Yes, and actually, if Peter is still on the call, Peter, it would be useful to also hear your perspective on the partnering and any other ideas that you may have as well. I know we hadn't discussed this, but if you're open to sharing, that will be awesome. Thank you. So all you have to do is raise your hand, and Anna will give you the microphone. Meanwhile, let me have a look at some of the other comments that have come into chat. Ensure clear objectives and expectations. Address as it arises. Yes, talk to who will be impacted. I think we looked at those before. On the go assessment. Yes, so Stephen, build switching costs to the relationship. It makes it difficult for the client to discard you. Indeed, you become a partner, you become very valuable. Thank you, Charika. Highly useful practical hints. Thank you for that feedback that you can immediately apply. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Key concepts. Thank you, Rajiva. Adopting flexibility, resilient. Absolutely. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. Ketsiwe. Lovely that a client. No, he actually attends. He attends regularly. He's part of the GLC family. Awesome. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Betsy, thank you. Good to see you here. The partnership is valuable. Precarious to manage at times. Indeed, Betsy. And that's where the relationship management skills come in. What I found is that all human beings want to be loved and understood. And as long as you do that with your clients, you never go wrong. And this is nearly, I'm shy to say this, but almost 20 years experience since I became a relationship manager, and later on in my experience as a consultant. Just that listening ear, the wanting to understand, goes a long way with any client, even the most difficult one. I'm yet to have a really, really difficult relationship. They do happen, but if you manage them well, they don't last long. Thank you. Thank you all. I think there was another question that had come in. Yeah. I may have missed it, Anna. Yes.
Yeah, so there's a question from Dr. Madhu Aman. So he's asking, what is the difference in between curriculum development and training methodology?
Okay. Curriculum development are they similar? I think it includes the training methodology, because you decide what methods will I use. So will there be lecture? Will there be activities? Which activities will there be? What types of activities? Pair discussions, group discussions? Will I do something experiential and all that? So that's the training methodology. But the curriculum development is what I call the learning journey. So from when you begin the training all the way up to the end, then that is the curriculum development. So the learning journey that will go, that is always objective driven. I hope that answers your question. Thank you. Happy to answer any others that you may have, or if I've not answered it well, happy to clarify. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all for your feedback as well. Have any other questions come in, Anna?
I don't see questions, so I see lots of thanks. So maybe let's wait just a couple more minutes. So I just wanted to say again, our Johannes, my colleague, our communications specialist, will be joining us in just a minute. So Mark Shellhayes, would you please make her a panelist? She wanted to have a quick chat with our audience today, if you don't mind. So please don't leave us just yet. In the meantime, feel free to type any questions that you have.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And then also, yeah, just to, as we come to wrap up as well, just to emphasize that what Jerry Bruckner, he said, go beyond merely communicating to connecting with people. This has worked for me right from the days I was a teller in the bank right up to now. Very, very important to really work on our soft skills and our communication skills, our interpersonal skills to really connect with people. Of course, we have to deliver technically, but understand that it's two sides of the same coin, that you're building relationships, but we're also delivering exemplarily. So just a couple of resources already. These have been shared in chat, and Anna will be sharing this on email as well. Look at the guide to training. It's really a wonderful resource, whether you're a seasoned trainer or you're just getting into the training space that you want to spend time with and keep referring to from time to time. And then also there's the handout, the summary tips for each stage as well, and some action points. So for you to just say what you're doing well, how you're doing now, and what areas you need to improve on. So download that and that handout and have a look at it. So those are my contacts as well. And if no other questions have come in, then it gives me great pleasure to say it was wonderful to be with you once again. And I just want to thank you all for attending and particularly for participating. As I said, it wasn't just me speaking. We all spoke, we all shared our experiences, and I really appreciate you all for that. So thank you very much. And I'd like to hand over now to Anna. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Caroline, again, sharing your experience with us. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you more in the future. So at this time, I would like to give the floor to my colleague, our Johannes. And while she's joining us, I just wanted to mention that I posted a few links in chat that includes the link to SurveyMonkey. So I would greatly appreciate it again if you could share your thoughts, provide your feedback on today's session, and of course, help us come up with the new topics for future webinars. And I also posted links to the resources and to events that I was mentioned today during the introduction. That includes the facilitating learning online and in person, which will be conducted by 2 master trainers, and the blog. So we hope that you will enjoy it. All right, a big welcome. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone, and thanks for sticking around after the session for our little introduction to the GLC LinkedIn page. Can you see, is my screen visible, Anna? Can you confirm?
Yes, we can see the screen. Yes, that's great.
Okay, but okay, Anna, I'm not able to move through the slides. Hang on. Oh, okay. All right, so I'm just going to introduce you to our LinkedIn group. I'll show you how to join, show you how you can contribute and participate, and then maybe help us promote the group and expand our network. So if you haven't done so already, I've put a link in the chat. You can click on that link. It'll take you straight to our group on LinkedIn. It's brand new. We started it last month. We're at about over 100 members, and we're very excited to keep growing the network. It's an opportunity for everyone to participate. So unlike a page, a LinkedIn group allows all members to post, to comment, and share. So the idea was to really get a conversation going between training members in the group and allow you all an opportunity to learn from each other and share updates. So this is our LinkedIn group. If you click on the link, it takes you here. You'll see a join button, and you click on it and we get a notification and we admit you to the group. And once you're in, you can share an update. So you can either, share a visual like a photograph, you can just share text, you can share a video or a poll. And I want to show you examples of what some of our group members have done. So Rainbow Consult has shared an internship opportunity. So this is an option for those who want to advertise any ongoing opportunities in your organizations or in your networks. Feel free to use the LinkedIn group to announce these updates. Caroline, Rohit have announced.
I'm sorry. We cannot
Yes.
see anything beyond the first slide.
Oh, so sorry. Okay, anyway, if you go to the LinkedIn page, maybe it's a network issue, Anna, and it will come. But if you visit our LinkedIn page, you should be able to see posts by other trainers. So like I was saying, Rainbow Consultant has shared an internship opportunity. Rohit and Caroline, our trainers, have shared, Caroline shared a video on the webinar that we just attended. Rohit shared an upcoming event, training event that he's conducting and facilitating. So it's a chance, it's an opportunity to really promote what's going on, either in your organization or any course that you yourself are trying to market. And like I said, the group allows you to post. You don't have to wait for us to do it on your behalf. You can just go ahead and post on your own. And you can do it either through video or images or through polls. And if you need support, so with Rohit and Caroline, we provided support in creating these videos. So feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to provide any support, marketing material that you need to promote yourself on this page. I'm going to try and share the page itself instead of this PDF. Oh, Anna, can you share the page?
Yes, give me just one moment.
Are you able to see this?
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to see the slide about inviting others?
Yes, all right, I confirm. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So once you're in our group and you've posted and shared an update, feel free to invite others from your network, people that may not know about the webinars that we conduct, but would actually like to attend, or those who do some kind of capacity building or training in their own professions and would be interested in some of the tools that GLC offers or connecting with other trainers in the network. So it's fairly simple. If you can, I hope you can see this PDF. There's a little box on the right of the GLC LinkedIn page once you're in, which says invite connections. So this little box over here. And once you click on it, you'll see all your own connections from your LinkedIn page. So people that you're networked with. And you can scroll through that list. So say if you have about 500 connections, you scroll through, you tick off over here the ones that would be interested in joining this group or would benefit from some of these updates, and then you invite them. So it's a pretty easy way to invite people from your existing network. Won't take you more than a minute to do so. So those are the 3 quick steps that I wanted to share with you today on how you join our group, how you share an update, and how you invite others from your community to join. And some of this might be basic for those of you who have used LinkedIn very often or are active. And some of this might be challenging for those who don't use LinkedIn or aren't familiar with the platform. So feel free, I'm going to leave my email ID in the chat box. Feel free to email me directly. We can set up time, we can go through the page one-on-one, and I can take you through how you share an update. And a lot of people feel shy or are reluctant to post. So if you need us to give you a little nudge or you need support in any way, feel free to email us. I'm just going to put my email in the chat. And feel free to ask questions as well.
Thank you so much, Aura. I hope it's going to be very helpful for you. So we're really using the GrowLane Connect page on LinkedIn to going on in active participants. So we don't want to run the show all the time. We want you to become active participants and run the show together with us. Okay, so here you can learn about any new courses that we are developing, and about the webinars, about the new recordings that we publish on the website, about any new events, opportunities to participate, to collaborate. So please don't be shy. Feel yourself at home. This is done for you, and we would like you to benefit from it, as much as you can. Okay. So next time, I believe we're going to meet with you in August, and to be more precise, it's going to be August 19th, and perhaps I will already spill the news. So next time we'll have Karen Philly, who I mentioned today. She's a master trainer and she's an instruction designer with our program, and learning. So we do believe that this topic is still very hot. It seems like COVID is not going away anytime soon. So if you haven't converted all your courses to online yet, then you will get that opportunity to learn from Karen. She's really experienced in that. So please don't miss this opportunity, and we will talk to you again on August 19th. So enjoy your summer. I hope that you are surviving the heat waves. It's pretty hot in Lithuania and in the United States, where I traveled from. So enjoy your summer. With that, I would like to wrap up that webinar today, and thank you for joining us. All the best. Thanks.